So hey everyone, this is the last vlog I'll be recording before our trip to Vegas. We are set to travel to the annual Star Trek convention in a couple of weeks. Um, by the time this airs, it'll probably be closer to that, or maybe I might even be there at that point. I don't. I think it's like about a week delay to when I shoot these to when they air. Maybe longer. I don't remember. Anyway. By the time you see this, it'll probably already have happened, maybe? Who knows? Anyway, uh, things are looking good. Most everything's in place already by now. It's just a matter of finishing touches. I have a few more things that I have to take care of before we are ready for our trip. But so far, it looks like things are looking good. Hopefully, I'll have a lot of good souvenirs to bring back. And it's looking good. The hotel has been renovated for this new year, so I'll probably try and show a little bit of that off at least. Apparently they've done a lot of work to the place, and I'm looking forward to being there again. It's always really a treat to be there every year. So fingers crossed, and I'm looking forward to a good trip. Um, in writing news, I finished an experimental short story. I think I talked about it in the last vlog about writing a story about some feral characters because I wasn't sure if I had done that or if I would be able to do that. And I mean, so far I think it went well. I'm looking forward to sharing it and releasing some other stuff. And I'm also contemplating a couple of other short projects that I'm going to perhaps put on the pipeline. Working on editing Winterfall 1. It's still going through the process. It's taking a lot of time because it's a lot of little, I guess it's a lot of stuff to tweak some of the chapters to the point that I like them. Um, it's I'm almost up to the point where I'm past the notes that Utunu gave me. I don't know what kind of changes I will be making to the second half, but hopefully not anything too significant, but I'll see. I probably need to give at least the rest of it a little bit of a once-over, and then it's just going to be as good as it can possibly be, and then I'll start working on some edits to the second one. There are a couple of spots that I know I'm going to have to make tweaks to because in light of Utunu's notes and thinking about it now, it's just like there's a couple of things that I'm not entirely happy with, but it's, I guess, inevitable for most folks. Um, there's a couple of spots. It usually seems that I have trouble around the end of Act 2 uh, getting everything to be quite as smooth as I would like it to be. But I'm gonna see what I can do, and I'm gonna try and see if I can't work on two projects at once because um, it's one of those other things I would like to be able to do that I've always kind of been a little bit nervous about trying. But I think that really it's just something that I can do if I just put the energy and the focus into it, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, at the very least, I've got some stories that I want to try and release on Voice of Dog and also to the public and Patreon and all the other good stuff soon. And, beyond that, we will see. Let's see. Video news. Light day today. It's going to be the vlog that I'm recording now, and I'm also going to do the audio for some other videos. I have an editing task that I may or may not try to do today. I guess we'll wait and see. But obviously I'll be shooting a lot of footage at the con that I will edit into hopefully a con report and a few other things later. And I think it'll all go pretty well. Books I'm reading. Still working on When the World Was Young. I read 3 more of the stories, and I decided to take another little break. I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and then I'll probably finish out the Iron Age, and then tackle the Bronze Age last. I still haven't decided for sure if I'm going to keep going in the series because, I mean, there's been some good stories, but anthologies take a lot of time because I like to review each story on an individual as well as a collective basis, and also just the fact that it's outside of my usual wheelhouse, but in fairness, I did find quite a few of them that I really enjoyed. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a mixed bag, but as always, I have a lot of things on my queue, both from members of the fireplace and other places that I would like to read and get through at some point. But regardless of whether I choose to read it or not, if I do, it's going to be a while because I've still got a number of things in place that need to be read first. Um, let's see, but I would also like to say that I have been gone through the first 60 pages of Return to Divalia, and it's a Kill Gold book, so I mean the usual stuff applies. It's really good. It's really well done. It's just, and I've said this before, it's pretty much the gold standard of furry writing. It's like I've just always enjoyed the pieces of his that I've read. I haven't read the majority of his work. I know for a while I stopped reading just because of a couple of things that I noticed, but they were mostly preference things, and at the time I think it was like that me wasn't really seeing the bigger picture, I guess, because it's not that I didn't enjoy it's like I really did enjoy the same-sex relationships, but I guess it was just because I started thinking that was it, that was all that Kill does. And I don't think at the time I had the awareness to realize that it's, as I've said before, it's a feature, not a bug. It's what he does, it's what he likes to do, and just kind of like I have my things and everybody else has their things. But one thing or another, he's really good at it, and he does a lot of really good male furry fiction. I don't think he does any other kind. I don't think he does female or any variation thereof. But he does a lot of really good writing, a lot of really good story concepts, a lot of different worlds, and a lot of things that just really he deserves a lot of credit for trying and for doing these things and for putting them out into the world. So as always, I'm looking forward to reading this, and after I finish Return to Divalia, I don't know. I know I've got at least one more Kill Gold book to read, which I have this, The Time He Desires, which I found through some sort of free article, I believe, which is said something about. Well, honestly, I don't remember what the article said exactly, but it was talking about how it was significant representation because it was like, and I don't want to misstate this, but it was just something you don't normally see in a lot of fiction. Period, and as such, as often is the case with Kill Gold, which I'm sure he does a great job, and I'm looking forward to being both entertained and educated at the same time. And I am, I would like to, before I've even read it, I'm going to say that you're probably going to want to read this because it's Kill Gold. It's like everything he does is awesome, and I'm looking forward to reading it and learning. And I think it'll be a good book. And let's see, also up and coming is another thing I want to try and highlight. It's like this is Utunu's new book, which let me adjust the lighting a little bit. There we go. Okay, close enough. Anyway, this is Utunu's new book, which just came out at Anthrocon. I have not had a chance to read it, obviously, but I'm looking forward to checking it out because I really enjoyed Rafts. The short story lids didn't really do it for me, but I have high expectations for this because Utunu is a tough reviewer and a really good writer, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. I think it'll be good. And beyond that, I've got a couple more Royce Day things to read, which incidentally I am working on Prisoners of War now, which is I think part of the porn/prequel series of Red Vixen Adventures. It's set in the same universe. Beyond that, I don't know too much about it. I mean, it starts with the usual blend of humor and action, and so it's really going well so far. Read the first 2 chapters. Haven't gotten to any actual porn yet, but I'm sure I will in time. But much like the rest of his main series, I'm looking forward to reading it, and I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. But I'm going to take my time with this, read a chapter here and there and just kind of go through it at my leisure. And, after I finish it, I'll probably read something else, maybe the other Kill Gold book, maybe the Star Trek book that I've been sitting on since February. And let's see what else is there. I still have at least a couple more Royce books to read. I still want to check out Tiberius Ring's book, Come to Dust, I think. Looking forward to that. I have a couple more in my queue to be read. I did finish Transformations by Bernard Douve, having reread that again. And I will say that even all this time later, it was nice to go through it again. I have a lot of issues with Bernard's universe, with Bernard's predilections with writing sometimes, and it's still a solid story. I mean, it's basically just a kind of wish fulfillment as far as, transformation into his signature species. And, there isn't really, I wouldn't say that there's a lot of conflict, there's no antagonist. But, I mean, at least insofar as this piece is concerned, it's fun to read. And even all this time later, I'm glad I reread it, and it's just a surprisingly good story. You know, I've got my issues with the Chakot universe and with a lot of his writing style in general, but although it's present in this story, most of it you can kind of ignore, and it's still, as long as you're reading it for entertainment and not critical analysis, it's a fun story, and I really liked it. And it's probably one of the few that really earns a solid recommendation from me, because it's one of the few that just is a good story and really doesn't suffer from trying to be anything more than it is, which is a fun sort of post-transformation adjustment story. And, because the transformation technically has taken place before the story even starts, and it's just a lot of kind of, I guess, learning to adapt and sort of a little bit of a found family sort of situation. And it's, as far as furry stories go, I really enjoyed it. um, as far as this particular piece, I would absolutely recommend it. Most of his work, I would have to at least include a caveat. I don't really know if there's anything else that would fit under things I would recommend, because I've read some of his other pieces that I just got to the point where I just stopped reading his work. And but I will say that Transformations was good, that I enjoyed it, and that it was solid. And that's about all I can say as far as for right now. But conventions, obviously, we're going to Star Trek Las Vegas. I haven't said much about it leading up to, because as we all know, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things can change, and I'm also trying, not that I've ever really been superstitious, but I'm trying not to jinx anything, so fingers crossed and all that stuff. And um, there'll be a lot of things to say after we get back, when it's all said and done and in the books. But I'm looking forward to it. It'll be our 5th time at the convention. My 4th time going as me. Uh, um, by now I pretty much have it down to a science. Last year I had a lot of stuff planned and I got every single thing done, so I'm confident that I can do that again this year, even though I'm kind of going a little bit overboard, and I'm saying that now. But this is one of those things that if you're going to a Star Trek convention with me, you're going to be busy, and that's just the end of it. Uh, you know, that's just, like I said, it's a feature, not a bug, so it's just, this is what I do. Um, I guess I can talk real quick about gaming a little. Let's see. I finished the last storyline behind A Changeling Tale, and this is a book that I might actually not a book, a game that I might actually have to do a review on, because it was really good. It was just, I don't know. It's one of the ones that really just feels like it almost deserves a lot of attention. And I mean, I kind of also really kind of wish that I'd had the foresight to do more screenshots for some of Clace's video games, because they're also really good. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like me a few years ago never used to play visual novels. I used to not see the point. It's like, what's the point in I guess I wasn't hip to motion comics or any of that stuff. It was just like I didn't see the point. It's like you had books, you had comics, you had videos, and it was like, visual novel, what the hell is that? And then I started reading some, what they also started calling graphic novels at some point. And over the years, visual novels has come to also represent, like kind of almost like playable stories. And I've had the opportunity to play a few by Clace. I started with Winds of Change, and I kind of fell in love with it a little bit, enough that it really kind of just made me buy the soundtrack, and I really just enjoyed the heck out of it. And it's something I wouldn't have played without it to break the ice, because I started it and I kept playing it, and it's like the more that I played it, the more it pulled me in. And maybe that's what any good story does, but it's just like this was particularly just fantastic at doing it. And it was also like what got me to play visual novels. And after that, I played Saul Harry's of Heart and Stone, and it was really kind of interesting and impressive just how much they do with so little. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like a play, because when you're on I mean, obviously when you're on TV or something, you have post production, you have special effects, you have all of this elements that come together. But if you're doing like a live performance, what you have is the stage, the set dressing, the actors, and that's it. And that's kind of like what a visual novel is in a little bit. It's kind of like sort of in that sort of sitcom family, which I've always credited as being requiring a significant skill in writing, because you don't have a lot of things to work with. It's just this is what you have and this is what you're doing. And it's like, I don't know. It's like I don't think I did a review for any of Clay's visual novels, but I just might have to. I mean, at some point I might have to go play them again, collect uh, some little bits, and just kind of just kind of see how it goes. But it's like I played through Como Rebbe not that long ago, and I really enjoyed that as well. And it's like I kind of regret not having the opportunity to support these projects earlier on, other than just as a consumer, because I kind of really wish I had. And if the opportunity ever pops up again, if Clace is watching this, or if anybody, if Clace ever sees this, it's like I definitely would like to back you up sometime, in whatever capacity, as a patron, as a Kickstart backer, or whatever, even just as a well-wisher, because it's like it was really good stuff, and it introduced me to visual novels and made a big difference to me. So I would like to definitely pay that forward. And I would also like to say that, having read The Changeling Tale, which I apparently had been aware of a while ago, but it's like I found it on Steam. I put it on my wish list, and a friend bought it for me, and I started playing it, and it was a lot of fun. It was definitely more all-consuming than I thought it was going to be. It's like I played each story one at a time from the beginning of June to now, and each story kind of took me a couple weeks to go through, and it's like I really just came to really enjoy it. And there's definitely going to have to be a video on that, because I took over 5,000 screenshots when I was playing the game, and that is not an exaggeration. It's like, because I mean, one thing that I think y'all probably know about me by now is that when I fall in love with something, I go all in. It's like I am committed. I mean, ask Royce about it, how nuts I am about some of his pieces. About when I talk to Saul about any of my stuff. It's just like it's like if I, how I spend like more than I would care to admit to do these Star Trek conventions every year. It's just when I love something, I really put my whole heart into it, and it just is one of those things that is a credit to the creators, to the creative team, to these people. And this is kind of why I try and why I put so much into my stories, and why I really hold them close to my heart, and why I also put so much effort into making them perfect. And maybe it's a little bit of uh, why I'm so slow sometimes, why I'm so hesitant, because it's such a huge gravity to want to make sure that the experience that I convey is equivalent or better to the experiences that some of y'all have given me. And it really means a lot, to Clace, to Kjell, to Royce, to Utunu. Um, I don't know if I'm missing anybody right now. Tempe, but it's like the the depth of the journey that I've gone through reading some of your pieces has really just made a significant difference. And I want you to know that I have really felt all that, and that it really just has meant so much to be an experience for me. And it's like, I always try and I'm always trying to grow and evolve and become, a better person today than I was yesterday. And I think all of you have contributed to that at least a little bit. It's like, without Clay's visual novels, who knows if I would have ever taken a second look at A Changeling Tale. Who knows if I would have, if not for my own commitment to want to read more fandom projects, if I would have ever read the Red Vixen Adventures, if I would have read Rafts. I don't know. But I'm glad that it did. I'm glad that I have. It's like I'm still going through Utuno's notes on Winterfall, and although it's been painful as change often is, and sometimes, I think it's making me a better writer, and I think it's going to make me a stronger creator going forward. And change hurts. Change requires growth. Requires us to face things we don't want to face. It also requires evolution. Little things exposed to things we haven't been exposed to before. And also, I kind of think that it's like, however long it takes me to do any of these things, that it'll be worth it, because they're the me that I needed to be in order to bring this to its final form. Because a few years ago, me would never have probably read a visual novel or played a visual novel, whatever the term would be, and I wouldn't have had these experiences that have added to who I am as a creator. If not for The Changeling Tale, then the story that I just wrote these past 2 weeks would not exist. If not for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, my cyborg border collie Reese would not exist. It's like there's things I draw from all of the things I've seen and watched and read that have kind of added little bits and pieces to the things that come out of me, and things that I hope eventually will mean as much to you as they have to me. So, I really just kind of want to thank everybody that I've mentioned here for being a piece of that puzzle, because whether you've contributed directly, indirectly, or just whether you don't even know that I have read your media or played your game, it makes a difference. It makes a difference to me. It really does. And it will continue to make a difference going forward. And I am looking forward to the next little bit. So, if anyone's looking for somebody, to read their book, play their visual novel or whatever, it's like, I don't necessarily purport myself to necessarily have like a huge following or be anything special in particular, but it's like, I will tell you this much. It's like, when as I've said before, when I go in and I find something that I really love, I go all in. And for some of you, in particular, Royce and Otunu, and I don't know if there's others, it's probably a good thing that I did read your stuff, because it sticks with me, and a lot of it just kind of ends up keep coming up over and over again. Maybe it's not much of a source of advertising, but it's something that, one thing I think every artist, every creator hopes is that their work reaches somebody, and it does reach me, and it reaches me a lot. So, Kiel, Utunu, Claes, Tempe, Royce, it means a lot, and it will continue to do so. And I guess that's it for now, so I will see you when we come back from Vegas.
If you like werewolves, check out my book Blue Moon, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. Catch you later.